This is the 11 Warriors Web Report. Brett Hilbrand, Joshua Perry, Dan Hope. Nebraska comes to town this weekend after the bye week. We had kind of a funny moment when we were taping the actual report a few minutes ago, where I said when I looked at the Ohio State-Nebraska spread and I saw it was 21.5, and my initial thought was, wow, that seems high. And then you're kind of like, has our confidence been reduced a little bit in the Buckeyes? Because Nebraska's won twice, and one of those wins is against an FCS school. So spread-wise, it's probably not that high, but even a week removed from the Purdue game, still maybe a little bit of a bitter taste in our mouth.
Yeah, I think that people absolutely have lost confidence. I think Purdue just kind of exposed some things that we had been seeing all year, and it just, it's still fresh for us because we haven't played another game since. But the things that we had done this year and we had made excuses for, everything was taken advantage of. So I do think fans have lost confidence, but you have to take into account Ohio State's not going to have bad back-to-back games like that. It's not going to happen, especially coming off of a bye week. So I think we should look for some of these issues to be corrected up. I think the run game is going to have to get stronger. I think those issues on defense that we've seen have to get better. I think those guys have to come out more focused, concerned about penalties. And so when you look at this game, you look at the spread, it should be manageable for the Buckeyes. It's just up to them whether they're going to execute or not.
Urban Meyer's record after defeats and then obviously in bye weeks is overwhelmingly positive, Dan. There's no way Ohio State lays 2 eggs in a row. It does feel like, though, to a certain extent, there has to be the Buckeyes have to put on a performance on Saturday, I think, to kind of ease some fears, to kind of put that Purdue defeat behind everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go and slog through this game and it's another game where they start out slow and then they don't pull away and they don't cover the spread, if it's another one of those games, people are going to be feeling just as negative as they've been feeling for the past month. I think unless you got to go out and on both sides of the ball, you've really got to dominate in this game for people to feel good. Because like you said, Nebraska's a 2-6 team. This is a team that Ohio State should be able to take care of business of. We saw them do it last year against Michigan State after the Iowa game. I'm inclined to believe that they will, but Nebraska's offense, they've got some pieces now. Adrian Martinez, Stanley Morgan, J.D. Spielman, Divine Ozigbo. They've got some guys who can make plays. So if this Ohio State defense hasn't fixed the issues that's been plaguing it all year, this might not be a cakewalk.
I asked you, Joshua, if there was one thing you could fix with the Magic One about this team. You said defense.
Absolutely.
They're going to have their hands full again this weekend. Nebraska defensively pretty much below average in Big Ten. I think offensively they're right there at or above kind of the standard. Martinez is an excellent running quarterback, but he can hurt you with his arm as well. And then we saw J.D. Spielman last year torch the Buckeyes a couple times in Lincoln, and he was by far the only bright spot that happened in that game. Another tough matchup for the defense this week. They have to tackle well. The scheme has to kind of work here. And everybody's antenna is officially up now with the defense.
Yeah, and like you said, they've got a couple weapons at receiver. You've got running back who's good, quarterback who can make all kinds of plays. And so you're going to ask, can this defense do it? They've played man-to-man. They've been burned a little bit. They tried to switch up into zone and been taken advantage of a little bit. So you're going to ask, what do they have? What kind of tricks do they have up their sleeve? I don't think they need any tricks. I think they needed exactly what they got, was a bye week to get back to the drawing board. So they're going to be able to take the time, and I said it on the show, but bye week, usually you go and you self-scout, you run some defense, you run your base stuff against plays that you've seen. And then as you get out of the bye week, you start to game plan toward the end, and then at the beginning of game week, you might get an extra day on the front end to get some more game plan in. So I think these guys should be tight. They should have seen every look that Nebraska has presented an issue to other teams. And I think that overall the defense should be playing at a clip way better than what we saw heading into the bye week.
And Dan, we heard that from Greg Schiano last week when it came to questions about changing the scheme. He was pretty bully on it. Like, he was pretty stubborn about the scheme is not solely the issue here. He said it's a myriad of things, all of which are contributing factors. But it doesn't sound like the scheme is going to change dramatically like maybe some fans were hoping.
No, I don't think so. And the other thing that Greg Schiano said last week is that he's seeing progress in his defense. He thinks that's getting better. I can tell you the fan reaction from Ohio State fans to that was not good. So the reality is it's put up or shut up time. It's been 8 weeks into the season. The defense has given up big plays week in and week out, has not shown the progress that you want to see. So now it's time to make it happen. You're in November. If you don't come out these next couple games and play better, there's going to be reason to believe this defense is a lost cause, because you're already 2/3 of the way into your regular season. Now is not the time to be slowly, gradually making progress. Now is the time to be at a level where you can go out and win a conference championship, to contend for a national championship. And if that defense isn't there yet, that's going to be a problem.
I sometimes feel like I've been a therapist for Ohio State fans with the mentions and lots of lamenting going on and lots of frustrations. These two guys can also agree with that for sure. You out there in Buckeye Nation, man, it's been a rough 10, 12, 14 days for you guys, and you're letting all three of us hear about it. One thing, another thing that we've been talking a lot about is the run game. It does seem like maybe this is an opportunity for the wheels to kind of get spinning a little bit with this one, with this matchup. This is a defense that I think there are opportunities, Joshua, for the Buckeyes to make at least a small step forward in the right direction when it comes to the rushing attack.
Yeah, and I think these guys, they're going to see the weakness in the defense and weakness maybe in the personnel Nebraska has. And the tough thing that they're going to have to deal with is bare front look. It's going to create single blocks up front, so guys are going to have to get moving without double teams. That's perfectly okay. I think Ohio State is going to have a plan. We saw a bare front junior year we played Virginia Tech, and we had no answers for it during the game. And every team thereafter had some bare front look, and Coach Meyer had answers. He's got the playbook, he's got the plays. So I think some of those schemed up runs there against a defense that forces you to scheme things up is going to help. These running backs are going to be hungry to get their yards too.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit more P in the RPO there when it comes to bare front. I think you're going to see a little bit of Dwayne Haskins maybe keeping the ball in a mesh, and then Paris Campbell has a potential to have potentially a big game on Saturday. But Dan, it does also feel like, you said it a second ago, there is a little bit of put up or shut up with the rushing attack too. You've got 3, 4, 5-star recruits there on that offensive line. Like, these guys should be performing better than perhaps they have this season.
Yeah, I mean, you looked at it 4 weeks in a row now. They've rushed for less than 3.3 yards per carry. So that's not what this group should be. Again, it's an offensive line. It's been the same offensive line all year. 3 of these guys are returning starters. 3 of them are seniors. This is an experienced group. It's a veteran group, and it shouldn't be a group that needs 8 games to figure out what it's doing. So I agree. I think there is very much at this point a put up or shut up. And again, a lot of fans wanted to see them make a personnel change. So far, the coaches seem to be saying, we're going to stick with the guys they have. Maybe Wyatt Davis is a guy that's pushing a little bit, but I don't think any changes are imminent there. I just think guys got to step up. They've got to play better. They've got to start moving people, because we just haven't seen them opening a lot of running lanes. And when you've got 2 backs as talented as J.K. Dobbins and Mike Weber, you should be able to get them into space and give them opportunities to make big plays.
I agree. I don't think there's a ton of depth on the offensive line as far as playing potential is concerned. Maybe with guys that, with a really high ceiling, but dudes that are going to play now, not a ton of guys back there. The line that the Buckeyes have right now is the line that they're going to stick with throughout the rest of the season. This is probably the last tune-up opportunity. This is your last chance you get to kind of get things right, because you get Sparty the week after, Maryland in between, and, that team up north lurking the week after that. So it's put up or shut up time for the Buckeyes, as Dan said, and it's going to be an interesting. The November gauntlet begins now. The Huskers on Saturday against the Buckeyes. I'm Brett, Dan, Joshua. Thank you, boys.